What up, boys and girls? Welcome back one more time to the Music City Model Works. I apologize to all my subscribers for taking so long to get a video out and an update on the 70 Pro Street Challenger, or the 70 Challenger Pro Street, he said. I just had a lot of things going on in life stuff. Since the weather's gotten nice and warmed up, we have been doing landscaping in the front yard, rebuilding flower beds and doing that kind of thing. So I have been splitting up my time on the weekends between Lowe's, Home Depot, and here outside in the yard. So I haven't had a lot of time to build. By the time I get through outside, I'm so tired I don't feel like fooling, sitting up here at the bench and trying to put something together. And as you know, when you're tired or you're sick, you're gonna make a mistake, and then you're gonna get frustrated. So the best thing to do is just, I'll get online and watch videos, or do some research on projects I've got coming up or whatever. So I'm always doing something model related. I'm just not necessarily sitting here building. So. But if you remember in the first update that I did, I had cut the, as you remember, I'm using the chassis, the rear tub rather, and the rear suspension from the 70 Super B, AMT Dirty Donnie Super B, for the rear tub on the Challenger. And I already cut that off and grafted it to the front part of the front half, or front 2/3 or whatever, of the Challenger chassis and frame, and that's kind of where we're at now, with it mocked up, got the body on, got the engine built, and it's mounted inside the frame. I used a Hemi engine. I was going to use the 340 from this kit, but I got to thinking about what I'm trying to portray. I just, the 340 is a great engine. It's got lots of giddy up, but for a Pro Street, I just thought we needed a little bit more hump, and so I took a Hemi out of a 71, the Revel 71 Hemi Cuda kit, and I've got it mounted. I'm using a tunnel ram intake and the plenum from the Super B, the Dirty Donnie Super B motor or engine. And even though it is 1/25th scale, it fits this, the Super B is 1/25th scale, and even though it is 1/25th scale, high-rise intake and plenum, it fits this Hemi, 1/24th Hemi rather well. So that's where we're at. I'm using the rear wheels from the big meats and the centerline rims from the Super B. The front wheels and tires are from the 70 Challenger, the custom version of that kit. And they centerline type wheels, they match almost perfectly to the wheels that come out of the Super B. So here it is. There she stands. That's what I'm hoping for. Well, that's what I'm going to get. I've already had the tub in, the inner tub, the interior tub, and it sits just like that with it mounted in there also. So, and I didn't put it in this time because I actually forgot. I went ahead and taped the front end down, and so the wheels are just sitting on there, so they're not glued on, and I've just got the body sitting on there, and it doesn't fit. It doesn't go into its mounting points without just a little bit of encouragement. So I may have to do a little heating of the front frame there just a little bit, and that may just have been me and my cuts or whatever. It just may be the way the frame is, maybe a little bit bent, top to bottom. So I'll get that straightened out. But it's not much. It's just enough where I wanted to pull the body down on the frame good, so you can see the stance that it will have when it's all said and done. So. But that's what it's going to look like. I'm pleased with it. It's come out real well so far. A lot better than a lot easier than I thought it would have. Been a long. I've done this several times in the past. It's just that haven't done it recently, so I was kind of rusty, and I was scared my cuts were not going to come out right, but they come out good, and the frame, the chassis and frame for that Challenger actually fits the tub on that Super Bee rather well, and they were almost identical frame lengths. They were just a tad off, and the width is what got me. Or I wouldn't even have to do any cutting. I could just use the Super Bee frame and chassis. But it was a little narrow. I was going to have to do some building up on the sides inside here with some either some square, some tubing, a half round or something to get the frame to stay in there and stay in place. So, well, let me take it apart right quick. And like I said, we're just kind of in there, mounted in there halfway. If you attempt this kind of thing, if you've never done it, my advice would be to make sure that you make exact cuts. Don't just eyeball it, because every cut, the first cut you make on these things, it's a trickle down. I mean, it affects everything from that point forward. The way the frame goes in, the way the chassis goes in, the way your motor sits, everything that you downhill from that first cut you make is going to be affected. So if you're going to do these Super Bee Pro Street conversions, you can see it's been a long time since I've made a video. Then you need to make good cuts. Get your tape measure out, or your ruler, whatever it is you use, and put it to work, because that is a valuable tool to do these body and chassis and frame modifications. Let's walk through what I've done. Like I said, so far, the motor's painted. The tester's one coat Hemi orange. The valve covers are dull coated. Tester's dull coat. So is the alternator. Frame and high-rise intake plenum have been painted with the Craft Acrylic metallic silver and platinum mix with satin polyurethane, and then clear with the satin poly. What I did was, with this, using this intake, there was no radiator hose neck mounted to the intake, so I just cut a piece of aluminum tubing. I wasn't able to bend it like I wanted to. If I'd worked on it a little bit more, I probably could have. But I just put a little short water neck there for the intake. Everything else come from the 71 CUDA kit. I drilled out the distributor and the wires. Everything's ready to go now. I don't have my carbs I have here are already plumbed. I didn't want to put those on because I'll be standing it on top of the plenum when I turn it upside down. But they will be mounted, excuse me, the other way, here and here, and then they will be bent around. They will be mounted to a fuel junction box that will be mounted on the firewall back here when I get the body on. And that's pretty much it. Now, I did have to cut the spindles. When I did my trial mock-up for this video, the car set nose high. The top of the front wheel was just barely at the bottom of the fender well, and when I did my original mock-ups, as I've been moving along, I don't recall that happening. I don't know if I just didn't have something lined up here at the frame. I may not have the body at the frame mounting points here. They may have been kind of to the inside or one side or the other, and the car actually set lower than it would have had it been on its mounting point. So what I did was I just cut the spindles. They were down about right here, so I just cut the spindles, moved them up, sanded this down so they would be level, because as you know, these mounting points taper in without just being sanded. So if you try to do that without sanding, you're going to have these spindles either sticking up, or if you try to compensate by cutting this at an angle, you may do it the other way and they'd be pointed down this way. So in order for them to mount, at least in this kit anyway, for them to mount straight, you had to sand. This had to be sanded almost flush to the front suspension. So we got that done. Let's look at the bottom too while we got a chance. This is all Super B kit. The rear suspension arms, the axle. Now this axle is a little bit short, and I may wind up, before it's all said and done, in putting a little piece of aluminum tubing on here to come out, maybe to come out to about right there. It's almost, you can't see it, to bring the wheels out just a little bit, because this Challenger body is a little fat in the hips, so to speak, compared to the Super B body. The Super B body is more just a straight shot, down the side, and the Challenger body, what I'll show you in just a minute, is a little bit wide back here, so the wheels don't look as close to the body as they do on the Super B. Got the coilover shocks mounted. The detail picked out there was some Craft acrylic bright red. Everything else is painted. The differential, drive shaft, transmission are all painted with metallic silver, platinum, and just a drop of, and I mean just a drop of black. I wanted something just a little darker than the silver that we used up here on the intake, the high-rise intake. Front suspension, same color. That's pretty much it. Like I said, the cut came out, real good. I was pleased with it. It wasn't as clean looking. You really can't. It's not as easy to tell that I got it painted. I didn't want to do any sanding in here, because this was, it was a couple of days where I could get this to where it could even be handled, because there is so little. You're working with so little surface right there between the two pieces. So I cut some, as you remember, I cut, those of you who've seen the other video, I cut some styrene, sheet styrene strips and put in here and here, and soaked them with the liquid, Testor's liquid cement, and just let them soak and get soft, and then put the two pieces together, kind of like a plastic weld, and let them sit for a couple of days, and that it finally hardened up good to where it's in good shape. It's not going anywhere. Well, that's pretty much it. I'm pretty pleased with how it's coming so far. Looking forward to getting on to other things with it. Oh yeah, and the rims are the rims from the back tires are from the Super B kit, and the fronts are from the Challenger kit. I may have already said that, which is definitely a good possibility, but if I have, I apologize. But I thought it was pretty cool how these front rims match the Super B center lines in the back. So that's what we're going to be putting on for tires and wheels. And I guess that's pretty much it. That's all I have for now. I haven't really come to a definite conclusion of what I'm going to do for the interior. I'm not going to do a whole lot. It's not going to be a hot rodded interior. It's going to be more of like this guy built this Pro Street to actually take out on the street. It will be a hot car, but it won't be something that's going to be taken out on the track. It will not have nitrous. It will not have a lot of sheet metal on the inside. I'm going to have to lose the back seat out of the interior, which I'm using the Challenger interior, and I'm going to have to cut back in here for that. So basically I will be using also the racing seats from the Super B and doing some other things. And while I'm on that subject, the B, I'm dubbing this kit, or this build rather, the Killer B. And the reason I'm doing that is much like I guess the African or the Killer B. The African Killer B was produced by crossbreeding the African bee with the domestic honeybee, and what transpired was a aggressive form of of bee that we have now that are called killer bees. So because this thing is kit bashed from 3 different kits, the 70 Super Bee, the 71 CUDA, and the 70 Challenger, I'm just dubbing Killer Bee. And I got that idea from the decal sheet from the Super Bee. Has one of the choices is a license plate that has Killer Bee on it. So that's what I'm gonna call it. I don't, like I said, I don't name models all the time, but if one comes to mind that I like, then that's what I'm gonna do. And you know, I understand. Please don't send me a PM saying that, you know, this has nothing to do with the Super Bee. Yes, it does. I have the tub from the Super Bee, the rear end from the Super Bee, the dry shaft from the Super Bee, the intake from the Super Bee. So yeah, this is going to be my bill for me. So it's going to be called whatever I want to call it. Having said that, I'm going to let you go. I hope to have another update here in the next week or two on the interior. Like I said, I just don't have the time to make 2 or 3 videos a week. When I get an opportunity to make one, I will. I'd like to thank all my subscribers. I just shot over 300 here in the last 2-3 days. Guys, I really appreciate it, and I've appreciated all the nice comments that I've gotten. Some really great comments on the craft acrylic paint tutorial. I appreciate more than you can imagine, and I hope to do some more in the coming weeks and months. I'm going to do one on applying Pearl X, a clear Pearl X at the end of your paint job, and then clearing that, and some other things coming down the road. Got some neat builds coming up. Okay, guys, happy Father's Day to all you fathers. Keep building. Take care of one another. May God bless you and your family. Till I see you next time, I'm gone.